Hey Super Tubers, don't forget to rate, comment, subscribe, and spread the word about the channel, and find me on these social media platforms. So one of the big topics this week in the fandom, all over the web, on Twitter, on Reddit, everywhere, YouTube, everybody's videos that's talked about this, has been the animation in Dragon Ball Super Episode 5 and the criticism of it and how people have been making fun of it. And I was asked by Mike from Laughingstock Media, I was asked, do you think that this was the worst animated episode in Dragon Ball history, including Dragon Ball Z and GT? And the entire episode, I would say, was probably not, but there were definitely some scenes in that episode that I felt were extremely bad. And yes, some of the scenes, mostly the ones that you guys have seen all over Twitter and over the web, of the still photos of Dragon Ball Super Episode 5 look hilariously bad. But I'm here to answer the question about what exactly is going on. And first of all, I want to give credit to Mr. Thomas in Tokyo. Check out his Twitter. It's twitter.com/Thomas in Tokyo. I'm going to put the link down below. Thomas in Tokyo is an animator in Japan, but he's not Japanese. He is a gaijin, but he works in Japan as an animator. He's a creator working in the anime industry is how he describes himself, and he was tweeting about this, and I asked him to see if I could make a video, and he said no problem. So he's cool. Definitely check him out. His tweets are mostly in Japanese, but Google Translate will fix some of that. So he basically put out this message about the state of working in Japan in the animation industry, and I don't want you guys to think this is some kind of thing to be afraid of. You know, this has been going on for a while, so I'm going to go ahead and read the statement here. This might help explain why is episode 5 of Dragon Ball Super so poorly animated, and what happened to Sailor Moon Crystal, like what's going on with the bad animation in Japan. He says this: some people, like the animation producers, the director, some of the designers and production assistants, get a salary during all the production process, so the schedules are kept short to limit the global production costs. But most of the animation staff are freelancers. The cost of having everybody working in-house would be unbearable. Only one studio was able to do that, Studio Ghibli. But the problem is not that the studios are greedy. The Japanese animation studios are small companies struggling with the budgets allowed by their clients. They are not right holders. They usually do not make large benefits and are not in positions to invest their own money into the IP they sometimes create. The budgets in Japan for animation are extremely low. In the 60s, to succeed in his crazy idea to produce weekly animated shows, Osamu Tezuka asked the animators to make a lot of sacrifices, work very hard for a very low pay. The same standards are still here 50 years later, which is true, folks. I've actually read about that. The animation in Japan, even though a lot of people watching this video are anime fans, there's a lot of issues there, and this kind of explains why, you know. He continues and says, on a TV series production, an animator is usually only paid around $40 to animate one cut from layout to keyframes. In-betweeners get only about $2 per drawing. What he means by in-betweeners, guys, is there's two different kinds of animators primarily. There's key animators. This is not including supervisors. There's key animators and in-between animators. The key animators do all the big shots, like, you know, like a shot of like Goku throwing a punch, and they show like Goku cocking back and Goku punching. That's how they draw it in the, you know, on the computer or whatever, on the cells. And the in-betweeners animate all the stuff in between, and they only get about $2 per drawing, according to what he's saying. This is all fascinating stuff right here. He continues on by saying, to make a living out of it, animators need to work fast and cannot afford to work exclusively on one show. The large part of animators are freelancers who work for several studios at the same time. This is a fact going all the way back to Dragon Ball. I'm not going to talk too much about it right now, but Dragon Ball definitely did outsource to several different studios. Let's keep going. The problem is that the Japanese anime industry is now producing too much content at an incredibly fast pace. There are not enough skilled and experienced animators here to supervise all the productions and teach young animators. The studios have no other choice but to work with poorly skilled animators, sometimes amateurs who only do it as a hobby. They also have no other choice but to outsource tasks in other countries, not to limit the cost, but to deliver the episode on time. So, just as I kind of suspected to myself, it is a timing thing. Dragon Ball Super is an ongoing series. I don't know if they're going to take breaks at all, like long breaks. And there is one of those things where, like I've said before, like we talked about on a couple other videos, there's a time limit to that, you know, and they have to meet those deadlines. And sometimes it's tough to meet those deadlines, so they got to hurry the fuck up without checking the details about what they're doing. Last thing here, he says here, everybody in the industry is incredibly busy all the time, especially skilled staff. But even mediocre animators are requested on a regular basis, and it's pretty common that nobody will work on your show until the very last moment. That's kind of scary, because they are already struggling with their deadlines on other productions. In the current situation, it is also common to hear people speaking of miracle when an episode is broadcasted on time. Sometimes the animation only started 2 weeks before airing, and episodes can be completed only a few hours before being shown on TV. That is scary. The quality can be poor, but what matters the most is to have something out on the screen. So he's not necessarily talking about Dragon Ball Super there, but it does kind of concern me that there's a possibility that these episodes are being finished hours before they're getting shown on TV. I mean, that's crazy. I had heard about this, but now we have confirmation from somebody who actually works out there as to what's going on. So I am happy to have shed some light on this now, and I'm glad that you guys know a little bit more about it. And that's kind of what's going on in Japan. It's been like this for a while, and I really, really hope that Dragon Ball Super does not end up having bad animation on a recurring basis. I don't think it's going to be going on for every episode, but now it's a little more information, so there you go. Anyways, guys, thank you once again for watching. Click that subscribe button if you haven't, and I will catch y'all down the road, and let's hope that Super Episode 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 are never ever this bad again. So I think we can all agree on that, regardless of your opinion of the show. So I'll catch you down the road.